Good evening. This is Penelope Flynn, co-host and moderator of Discussions from the Otherhood. I'm here with the rest of your blood assassins next door. We got Cranston, Sonia, Nikki, Otto, and Roxanne, and we are here. This was it June 15th, the day before Father's Day, to discuss our favorite Father's Day films. Before we get started, we are going to talk a little bit about the weather, which we do every week. Sonia, how is the
Yeah,
weather in Rochester?
today was quite beautiful. It was in the 70-ish. Um, but everybody's dreading Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday because it's supposed to hit 95 with a heat index of 104.
Wow.
And we just had like 40 degrees a few days ago.
That's crazy.
So
Go home,
what?
New York. You're drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I said, oh, you're Florida.
Wow.
So I mean, is that? I mean, how often does that ever happen up there? I would
They
think not
said
often.
they said it gets pretty hot, but not this soon, this early. Because
Mm,
last year this time they were under all that smoke from the Canada wildfires.
I remember that.
So, I was like, "Yeah, you thanked me for bringing the Florida weather in the winter, and now you're not gonna thank me for bringing the Florida weather in the summer, are you?"
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Sorry.
We'll see. We'll see.
Meanwhile, Kim and I are just like, "Yeah, it's every day in Florida."
Yeah. I mean, that kind of weather, that hundred,
It's
that's gonna
messed
knock
up.
somebody
Yeah,
out.
it's hot.
Yeah.
They
You
are
don't know
not
what
going
to
to
wear.
encourage
What
that. Yeah.
clothes? You go
You don't
outside.
even
What you
have
wear?
clothes up
I'm
there?
not going outside.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Uh,
not no, no, not
Smart
going.
move.
See,
yeah.
yes, not going outside. We may not have air conditioning in this house, but it'll be definitely cooler than out there.
This is true. All right, Roxanne, how is your weather in the Maryland area?
Yeah, it was gorgeous today. It was in the 80s, like mid 80s, maybe a little cooler. My truck's thermometer gets a little wonky when it sits in the sun. But no, it was very pleasant today. And right now it's clear, a little bit cooler than that. It'll probably go down to maybe 70, something like that this evening.
Wow.
That's basically got about a 20 degree difference during the day and night. But no, it's just absolutely gorgeous.
Sounds pleasant. Really. Okay, let's see now. Cranston, how is your weather?
We have been in the upper 90s most of the week. I think it got up to 97. It didn't make it up to 101, which they had predicted, but we've had, and it's been overcast most of the days, so that's kept it from being too oppressively heated, but it's
Hmm.
been toasty.
Okay, all right. And so I'm going to leave this to Nikki and Otto. How is your weather?
Well, I'm not in Fort Lauderdale now. I'm in
No.
Dallas, but
Yeah.
I will tell you the weather in Fort Lauderdale still. It is cloudy and 82 degrees, and thank God it is not raining anymore.
Yeah, you all had some bad rain, right?
Yeah, we it was real bad to the point we thought we were not going to make our flight to Dallas.
Right.
Yes,
And
but we made it.
yeah, yeah. All
Yay.
right. Okay, and Otto, then how is Dallas then? Sticky's giving us
Actually,
the Lauderdale weather.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Rochester. I'll tell you that much.
No, it's not that. Mm.
And for that, I feel blessed. So it's like upper 80s, like 90, and a heat index of like 90. So comparatively, I'm nice. I'm good. The weather's
Okay.
good.
All right. Well, as well we know, tomorrow is Father's Day, and we are going to celebrate uh, Father's Day by discussing this listing that Ranker had done for the top 30 Father's Day films. And so the way that we pose it is that, are these the best films that are on this list? What's been left off the list? And whether or not some of these that are on the list should be on there at all. And I don't know if you all have seen all these films before, because it starts with the number one. I don't know if they did these by order of just what came to their mind first. But at number one, they have Father of the Bride, the Steve Martin film. and I don't know how many have actually seen the film, but do you all think that this is the best depiction of fatherhood?
That's a remake, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
they rank it by upvotes, so it got the most upvotes.
Hmm.
So
So
not
again,
necessarily, yeah, not necessarily the best. It's just the most popular.
yeah, I guess,
And it
but
has the
that's the whole
word
point. People
father in the
would,
title.
yeah, and then, but
Yeah.
that's the whole point. People vote for it for being, I guess, the best Father's Day film. They would get the most votes. So, but is it? I mean, do you think that character exhibits the characteristics of what we would consider a good father?
Well, I mean, I did see it, and basically, we're talking about Daddy is angry, or well, angry is a little too strong a word, but his little girl has grown up,
Hmm.
and that's not something he wants to see. So, he's looking at, he in the photo, he's looking at the
Hmm.
boyfriend like, get out of my house, you know. And and I guess, I don't know, I've never seen that, that kind of behavior from my father, not when I got married, or when my sister, well, except for my first husband, because he didn't like him, but nobody did. But and but I don't know. I mean, he had to have some kind of negative emotion, otherwise there wouldn't
Right.
be a movie.
Yes.
So, but I don't know. I guess from that aspect, Daddy's little girl is all grown up, and
Hmm.
he doesn't want to admit it to himself.
So,
Yeah, I guess it does. It can depict, how a father reacts, but I wouldn't say that it is a really a good depiction of fatherhood.
right. Okay. Anybody
So,
else seen it and thinks has different thoughts on it, or same, or
Well,
Cranston?
I want to know how Roxanne's husband, nobody liked him, but she still she married.
Married him anyway. I'm a
because I was
contrarian.
because I was a rebellious little a-hole, and he was an a-hole, and I was going to defy my family. I'm not
Yeah.
under your control, and boy, was that the biggest mistake of my life. No, actually, it was the
Ah.
second. No, well, yeah, he was the first mistakes, and the second husband was the second mistake. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. And I will get to that later. The litany of bad husband list. Okay.
Really.
Well, Cranston, you look like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I saw. I thought. I don't think that's the best movie about fatherhood, and a lot of it is just him reacting to situations badly. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing I did thought was probably the best and the truest scene is when she's telling him that she's getting married, and he's staring at her with his mouth hanging open, and it cuts back to her, and all of a sudden she's like 6 years old and everything, and all.
Yeah.
And I found out that does happen, that you are a little bit, you're not ready for when your kids grow up, but then eventually they do, and all that. So it was a pleasant movie, but it wasn't like really life changing or life affirming or anything like that.
Okay.
So no, I wouldn't have put that as number one, but then of course there are several on the list that I wouldn't put on there at all. So
Yeah, well, that's true too. And those of you all who are watching, I guess YouTube, you're welcome to put in your comments. Let us know what you think. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, if you don't want to see it, that's good too. But yeah, just come on, chime on in. That's wonderful. The second film that's on the list is Field of Dreams. And if I have to say anything, I think number one, why is it on the list? I don't. I mean, I understand why it's on the list, but I don't know why it's on the list. I mean, the father, that if you build it, he will come thing, and go all the way to the end to get the final joke, or I don't know the payoff was a joke, the payoff on it. But I think, it's his father's collection of all this baseball memorabilia, which he believes spurs this desire to build this baseball field in the acreage behind his home. So, but the father, again, although it is his collection, his memorabilia, we don't even get the payoff until the end. So I don't. Maybe other people disagree with that, but I think it should not even have been on the list. I mean, especially not if this is, like you say, up for certainly not as number two. Anybody else have thoughts on it?
We don't have Sun's Day as a commercial holiday, so that this would have been more of a Sun's Day, son remembering his father, not.
Right, right. But, you know, yeah, it's kind of a weird um, film to put it for Father's
Yeah.
Day.
I don't remember him ever saying, I never got to wish my dad a last happy Father's Day or I love you,
No,
Dad, or anything like that. So I wouldn't have even associated it with fathers.
Well,
it didn't show him being a father, doing fatherly things. That's why I thought it shouldn't be on the
well, there's
list.
that one thing he does mention. I don't know if that's a voiceover or he's talking
Mm-hmm.
with his wife, but he mentions that his father was older and he had stopped playing ball by the time he began to
Mm-hmm.
realize it. And he was saying about how he never saw his father in his prime when he was playing and everything, and now he
Right.
would do it. And so that's a kind of a foreshadowing about the ending, and the ending is kind of a twist thing because they keep saying, if you build it, he will come, but you don't really know who he is until the very end and everything, so.
As we get spoilers for this very old film, okay? It's hopefully you all have seen it by now.
1989, yeah.
Well, it's what, 40 years ago?
Yeah, that's pretty old.
So, okay, you
35,
haven't seen
yeah.
it by now, you weren't going to see it.
You
Yeah,
probably
you know.
won't. But if you're a baseball fan and you might want to see it, just it's kind of nostalgic for some information regarding baseball for others, certain players. But I think it's a little whitewashed, with regard to like Shoeless Joe Jackson and those guys. I don't think it really spoke to the fact how they cheated the World Series. So that's not brought up because I don't know. Also, the issue we talked about in the earlier show that there were no black players in this
Mm-hmm.
grouping of players that he, were his father's favorites that came to this field. So there are a lot of
But
black
would there
players.
be? But would there be? I mean, if we're talking about White Sox and all about that, and if we're talking about that time, we're talking about black men playing in the Negro leagues, which was totally separate.
But just because the Negro League was separate doesn't mean that baseball players didn't know what other baseball players were doing.
But is it? I never saw the film. I had no interest in seeing it. But the thing is, you said it's based on what his father's favorite player.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, that's my.
Yeah, his father is not going to be the favorite Negro League player.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I think some of his favorite players, and then other people just came out there to play. The other players, historically just came out there to play. So the black people just didn't show up. I guess what is it, Iowa or something?
Yeah, I wouldn't be showing up in Iowa.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's not even dead. I will not show up there. So there we go.
If it had my funeral there, I wouldn't show up.
And that's even with some of the most wonderful people who've been in my life currently living in Iowa. I wouldn't be up there.
Yeah, not visiting.
The thing is that they had a couple of years back, they had the Field of Dreams. Major League Baseball, I think, still does it every year. And the first time they had it, it was the Yankees versus the White Sox. And, of course, they had black players then, of course.
Yes.
And I got to say that it was really cool to see the players come out of that cornfield.
Yeah.
It was really.
They had all the players
the coolest thing.
come out, from the cornfield. It was very exciting, very nostalgic. It was, that was really good. Whoever played that did a really good job.
I don't think of that film. I never seen the film. As I said, I have no interest. I'm a big baseball fan, but I have no interest in seeing the film. But I don't think of it as a Father's Day film. I think of more of a baseball film.
Yeah, agreed. Now the third film, and I'm going to run through them because it's 30 on this list. He Got Game, Denzel Washington and Ray Allen. That film, I don't know what other people has an opinion about He Got Game, but I just thought so many parts of it was really kind of vulgar. some of it. And I don't know what they were trying to prove, what Spike was trying to prove in that, and why it is that he considers it, Father's Day film, because the father gets to, come out of prison to convince his son to play with a certain team. I don't know. I
I
mean,
don't think of it as a Father's Day film.
Did
I
anyone
mean,
else see it?
no, I mean it's a film that's based on Stephon Marbury's career out of Abraham Lincoln High School in Brooklyn, and I mean there's a lot of nasty stuff that went down. People are nasty the way they try to recruit you and everything else.
Yep.
And then his father's like a convict or something, ex-con.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
what's so fatherly about that?
To come and try to convince his son which school that he should, go to. So I don't see what's fatherly about it. I mean, he did have a father in the film.
Yeah, he did have a father. Yeah.
Yes, that happened, but I don't know why it would be on a Best Father's Day.
Condensed
type.
was in it. Is that it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to move on to number 4, which is To Kill a Mockingbird, which most people know of. This Harper Lee. It's the adaptation of her book to film. The one they have here was Gregory Peck, and I never thought this was. I mean, maybe for people who are Anglo, they during that period thought that he was a good father figure, but from the perspective of a Black person watching this film, I am. It's the noblesse oblige, that is fused within this film is almost impossible to bear.
Is that what you thought? Because I mean, I can see the noblesse oblige and so on and so forth, but I was kind of thinking, he's setting an example for his kids that you do what's right, no matter if you think, no matter if you're going to lose, but you just do what's right.
Yeah, and that argument and that part of it, I think, is an accurate way to, a positive way to look at the film. But again, I don't like the fact that Black people are used as a prop, because they could just as easily have this be a white person.
I agree with that. I would agree with that.
But to show, look how again, how lofty we are, that I will condescend, to represent this person, to show what is right. But they could have done it again with the white person. It would have
right.
Been,
he didn't have to be Black. I get it. Yeah.
Right. But it just but shows how, look at this man, how lofty is, how high he is to represent someone so low. That's what I don't like about it.
Right. Okay.
I'm actually impressed that they had a film from 1962. Usually when we get these types of lists, they stop around 1984.
Yeah, okay. You're right.
So
token film.
Yeah, I'm actually impressed that people thought about the father connection even to movies that far back.
Yeah.
But do you think the people or persons or person who made this list, you think they actually saw that movie?
I think that it may not have been the person who made the list, but if what they did was just throw these films out there and say upvote, downvote, it's not really their list. What they do is throwing it out there and having other people push some films up and other films down. Right?
And it got 16 votes, where Father of the Bride, I think, got 50.
Yeah. So yeah,
could have had the word father in it.
Yeah. Well,
it only got 21. I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Well, but
so 9 difference.
To me, that you look here, and the next thing is like Finding Nemo, which they say is 18. So maybe we're going in the opposite direction. The bottom is the highest.
No, because he got had 5.
I have no idea what this is about.
Oh, Finding Nemo is a Disney film. It is a father's film because it's told from a father's perspective.
I think it's lovely.
Yes, I've watched this way too many times because when I babysit this one girl, she was in a Finding Nemo kick. Nemo gets captured is for exotic fish sale, and his
Mhm.
father travels the ocean and the city trying to find his
Mhm.
son.
Yep.
So
I
in
think it's
that
great.
sense, yeah.
I think it's great. I'm glad
I'm
you
gonna
love
be
it.
like I'm gonna be like Living Color. They had a
Uh-huh.
film review. Hated it
Okay. Why did you hate it so much?
because I don't care about no fish, man. No.
Okay, you know what?
That would
It's
show off
it's
my
an
father.
analogy.
But in Disney films, animals are often anthropomorphized for
Yeah,
humans.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hated
so it's
it.
a
Right. Yeah.
father's search for his son, is
Yeah,
what you're
also
supposed to.
because the son, had a disability.
Right.
And, he was uh at first I think wanting his kid to just get out there and just throw him out there into the world. Sometimes you gotta realize that they need a little more help than just being thrown out there. Well,
Yeah, miss me with that film.
okay. If he didn't like it, how about you, Cranston? What you think?
I think it was a good thing about how showing family ties and devotion and that kind of thing. So yeah, I would include it on the list.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Look at
Nikki, how about
Cranston
you?
being
Did
all
you ever see it?
sentimental and stuff, man.
Did you ever
Yeah,
see it?
I saw it a few times because my niece Chloe loved it. So I thought it was a little cute movie.
I did too. I thought it was cute. I can't believe you don't like this. Okay. Now
I can
I
believe
know
it.
Okay, Mike.
now we're getting to the next film, which is Life is Beautiful. And I know that I think that I saw this, but I'm looking at the photo and I have no memory of what this is.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that there was a child in the concentration camp.
Right.
His father's
No,
trying to
that's
create a
his
different reality, I think.
that picture, that
Mhm.
still is part of the father's imagination.
Mhm.
And how he's trying to shield his son from the horrors of the concentration camp. I
It's
did see the
nominated for an
film.
Oscar, right?
Yes, I did see the film, and it was, you know, it was wonderful. I mean, in the sense
Mhm.
that this man's, we were talking about devotion. We're talking about this
Mhm.
man who was doing everything he could to shield his child from where they really were. And when he was being taken to the gas chamber, he did this exaggerated step and he was, like kind of like smiling, knowing he would never see his son again. But this was part of, this was part of the fantasy. I don't, fantasy is not the right word,
Mhm.
but this was part of it, to shield his son. Now, on the one hand, I think it was beautiful
Mhm.
that he tried to do this for his son because his son was so young.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, to try to shield him that much, I mean, they're in a concentration camp. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ugly. The kid is gonna see some serious ugliness,
Mhm.
especially after his father leaves,
Yes. He
after his
won't be
father is
raised.
gone. So I have that, but on the other hand, maybe it's the father's determination to shield his son as much as possible, but I just think he went a little too far considering their circumstances.
Yeah.
But still, it was a really, I think it was a really good depiction of the lengths a father will go to protect his child.
And sometimes protection is not just physical protection, but
Right,
psychologically to try
right,
to protect this child from these atrocities.
right.
It's wonderful. Right.
Yeah, it's like inevitable. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like what else? What else were they going to do? I didn't see the
Mm-hmm.
film, but I know of the film. But it's like what else are they going to do? I guess it's like
Mm-hmm.
you going to that gas chamber.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And here we go. I think the next film on the list is Taken. Part of the Liam Neeson um,
Oh
work,
no! Oh
his
hell
body
no!
of work. So I mean, well, the concept. I'm gonna go get my daughter, no matter what, using all my skills. A very What is that? This line,
I got a
very
special set of
special
skills.
skill set. Yes. So yeah, using a special skill set, he's going to uh, get his daughter, bring her back. That is one
Why
kind
she
of
keep get why?
father.
So you have a series of these films. Is it the same daughter? And if it is, it's
Yeah,
like why? Why does this keep happening to this woman? What's going on?
I don't know. I don't know. She is made of gold. They keep trying to kidnap her. I don't know. I did not
No,
see anything the Taken series, only the trailers. And anybody seen any of the Taken films?
yeah, the second film was, of course, the people from the first film who wanted revenge for him taking them out. So that's why they went after the daughter. And then in the third film, they went after his wife. So, it was kind of like all of these people should have been in witness protection or changed their
Yeah.
names
Yes.
or
And then,
did something,
and then,
like that. But
and then the fourth film, he went out and randomly got some black guy and beat the hell out of him for no reason,
Okay. Yeah, for no
for
reason.
revenge.
It's
That's the
somebody
fourth
that he
film.
knew. Yeah. Okay, that film. Yeah, I think that was a documentary though. Okay, now the next film is Coming to America, which is the 2021 film when the Eddie Murphy is playing the King of Zamunda. I guess I don't know what is his role now. Is he king now or still
yeah,
prince?
He's still Prince looking for his son.
His son, his heir, his son, and I thought it was parts of it. I think were interesting, even good at some points. But as a father, I think, boy, he is trash. I mean, geez.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, and
well, it was
then
after he found out 20 years later that he had a child, then he decided to try to make amends for it. So,
yeah, but also the king. I guess I don't know which one. I don't know what his role is. That the daughter, who actually his daughter. Why wasn't his daughter considered his heir? He was really,
Cause
crappy.
she's a woman.
Yeah, so that was kind of crappy. I mean, his wife was right there, and she didn't say, you know what? Why isn't our daughter being considered?
Oh, she did.
Because our
But
traditions are
yeah,
blah
he
blah.
came back with traditions, and she's
And then
just
she
looked
said,
at him.
look, I'm gonna pack my stuff and take my daughter, and we're going elsewhere. Where she
Daughters. He had three of them, or
seen
two.
as yeah. I said that I'm gonna go all the way to here to get the kid that I have not raised, have not taken care of, did not pay one dime in his care and maintenance. How dare he look down his nose at the mother? And I really, really, really hated the way that they tried to depict Leslie Jones in that film as being like he's just so drunk and he just would be hooked up with her because he's just so
To
drunk.
make a joke, try to make a joke out of
Yeah, I did not like
black
that.
women. I didn't
I
like that at
did not
all.
like that at all. Dark skinned black women. And Leslie looked absolutely beautiful in that
She
film.
looked good. She did
Every
look good.
time she changed outfits, man, she was wearing it out.
She
But
looked good.
apparently, Eddie Murphy is color struck and has those issues. But he's
Well, you know
supposed to be
what?
an actor,
Other
and he
people in
shouldn't
that
take
movie
his
too.
issues into his film. So
I
I
mean,
did
other
not like
people.
that.
That movie
Hmm.
was greenlit, edited,
Hmm.
photographed.
Yeah,
So Murphy's not the only, violator. The only
yeah,
person that to blame.
yeah. But a lot of people are there on his film by grace and mercy. They're just glad to have a job. So they're not going to speak up and say this is garbage. You know what you do. The thing is that you have somebody like Wesley Snipes who is very dark, but he can be that. And he did. He looked fantastic. Eddie Murphy himself, you know, but the women, are not considered attractive or beautiful unless they have fair skin or light skinned, as we say.
But did
So,
look good though. Leslie did look good. The
yeah,
colors
she's fantastic. Yeah,
bounced off her skin, man. She looked
yeah,
great.
she's fantastic. Um, but I think as a father figure, I mean, it's in the story of how bad fathers are. Don't do this. I mean, it's like one of those reverse stories. Like, if you want to be a good father, don't do any of the stuff this guy does. Just, go the other way. That's how I feel about that one. But anybody else feel positively in any way about this role um, within the film, the fathers? And he wasn't the only father. He had the wife's father, was still around. The John Amos role, was it McDougal's?
Was James Earl Jones in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He
yeah,
showed up. I think he showed up towards the end.
Yeah.
Or
but
Yeah.
again, I mean, was
He
he
was in it.
also promoting that male thing, or was it, that the Asian male, or not? I just don't recall very much. But I do know that the character played by Eddie Murphy Hakim was really looking for this male heir, someone didn't even know, someone he hadn't even raised or taught anything, was better than the child that he had taught and had raised. So that's, it's an interesting, I guess, film that they kind of got around to saying, well, no, she was more ready, prepared, for this, and he wasn't really interested. His son was really interested. Um, After this, on the list, number 9 is Mr. Mom. And I thought the Mr. Mom film was okay. It was cute. I mean, I saw it many, 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 many years
I
ago.
like that movie. That movie is funny.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think it's a Father's Day movie.
Well, he's a mom. He's a father, Mr. Mom.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a movie that hey, let's watch a Father's Day movie. I don't think that.
Well, to show that he was still, they call Mr. Mom, but he was still a good dad. He took on those responsibilities that, people generally are going to associate with, being a mom and motherhood, but this is just the stuff that has to be done in your house. And a good father does what has to be done and doesn't say this is not men's work or dad's work.
Are you trying to give me a subtle message, Penelope?
Why would I be giving you a subtle message? I mean, you are the king of Mr. Mom. I mean, at one points, at some points during our relationship, that you actually were a stay-at-home father and took care of your sons and did a brilliant job at it. So
Oh, don't make me
absolutely
blush.
no stab at you at all. I mean, you are the
Okay.
king of that. I mean, I have no issues with that at all. I mean, I was always so impressed. You took great care of children.
It's
Great
like
care.
if a man does any housework at all, he needs to be celebrated.
No, I mean, that's what the point is. You didn't just do housework at all.
No, I'm talking about this movie. I'm talking about this
these
movie.
movies. Yeah, if you do it badly, no, you should.
If you do
upgrade it.
anything, yeah,
Yeah.
you do anything, like you got to put an apron on. That's how you.
Yeah, and there's a film on here that
Yeah.
reminds me of that. Yeah, but I did like Mr. Mom. It's a comedy, but I did like it. The next thing is The Godfather, and I'm kind of trying to figure out why.
Father.
I agree.
So,
Your father is a killer.
hey, and then
He set an
Well,
example for his boys. If
also,
nothing else.
yeah, you're right. There we go. Thank
No,
you. So,
I would say it should be on the list because if you look at Don Corleone, he did
Mhm.
have a kind of like an extended family. There was the singer, Johnny, whatever his name was, who was the singer that he looked after him. They had adopted Tom into the family, even though he wasn't Italian or wasn't a Corleone. And of course, he wanted the best for his children, and he knew what his children were like. He knew the Sonny was a hothead. He knew that he wanted Michael. You could have been Senator Corleone. You could have been whatever it is and
Mhm.
stuff. And now you dragged into the business. So I think there was a good thing about family ties and wanting better for your children than what you had.
Yeah, but
That is, I think Cranston. I think
Huh?
that's one of the most perverted descriptions. But I think it's right. I think he's right.
Yeah, but also you think like Fredo, who was never going to be able to run the business, and but he knew that the primogenitor set up, and of course he felt that he had been stepped over to basically it's never
Mhm.
going to go to him. It will go to Santino, and he was hurt by that. And then when Santino dies, he's not even considered. It goes to the younger son, to Michael. So it was a very difficult thing, within this family with these sons. I think Fredo felt very disrespected and unloved. because he was never given his opportunity, even though he was not really fit for the position. You know, so
Mhm.
I think
But
it was kind of,
eldest. He was the eldest son. That's the thing.
yes, he was the eldest son, and that was supposed to be his position, but he was not ready for the world in that sense. So, yeah, I guess there's some father issues going on. The thing is that you don't really ever see anyone being a father, truly, except Don Corleone. The children, Michael, you don't ever see him really to be a father to his children. You don't see um, Sonny, being a father to his children. They just really, he's the only one of the Godfather that you see actually being a father. Probably not a very good one either. He was a business person
Well,
and
and
he tried
that's
to.
that's the thing I thought about the Godfather. I mean, yeah, he did the family ties and so on and so on, but basically he was judging his sons based on who could run the business and
Mm-hmm.
make it bigger, make it better,
Right,
whatever, or at least just keep it going.
right,
Right.
And so is that a
yeah,
father?
yeah. It's not
Yeah.
about love of your children.
Right,
It's about who gets to run my business, and to tell them that running the business, to be chosen for that, is a sign of love instead of no. It's just this is the employment part. You're
right,
my child all the time, and I love you and do all these things, but this other thing is just employment. It's nothing to do with how much I love you, or that I want to spend time with you. It's just that this is the job part.
right.
Well,
That.
is it like the flip side of the Kennedy? The Kennedy Joseph Kennedy story.
In which sense?
Kind of in the sense that what he did with his sons, and of course his sons were more easily transition into mainstream, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
continuation of my son. I'm grooming my son to do this and do that.
Right.
Kind of the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think the difference. Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's one is better than the other, but I think the difference between Joe Kennedy and Don Corleone is that Joe Kennedy did not want his sons to quote go into the business. He
Mm-hmm.
groomed his sons, to be mainstream politics.
Right. Right.
Now it's still a power play. He didn't groom his sons to be congressional aides.
Right.
He
Right.
groomed his sons to take political power.
Right.
But it's really in a way the same thing, but a little. Joe Kennedy just went in a different direction. Let's put it that
Mm-hmm.
way.
Right. I think also the probability of you know, these Italian children, Italian young men at that period, getting the type of power that
Right.
he might have wanted them to have is going to be very difficult. But look, LaGuardia did it, so why not, right?
And the Kennedys, of course, were Irish Catholics, so they
Mm-hmm.
had that
Yes.
against them. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
remember, of course, this was after the fact, but I remember reading about how so many people in this country were actually worried that about Kennedy being Catholic.
Yeah.
That was
I
a
know it's
that
And
was a
weird.
weird. Wasn't that the
It's so
most
weird.
weird thing you've ever? As a black
Yeah.
person, it was one of the most weird things.
Yeah.
I really didn't understand it, and the thing was, well, he's not going to listen to the American people. He's just going to listen to the Pope. I said, you just making stuff up. You making stuff up.
Yeah. I was saying, I was looking here in the comments of Gary Simmons was saying, perhaps Will Smith in After Earth or Leon the Professional. And I think that's a very interesting concept of Leon the other day, as a father figure
Yeah.
or and the After Earth uh, interspersion of the father in away from his child, having to remember all of these
Well, I
things
got
that
some.
he.
I got some too, Penelope.
Mhm.
Like uh, frailty.
Yeah, that was an interesting
Frailty.
father-son
Right.
relationship. It certainly
Right.
was.
Right. And Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Yeah, that's well, yeah, it's a very hard one, isn't it?
It's kind of a twist, but he's
I
dad,
mean,
right?
the book version, I think is certainly much more of describing this relationship, father and son relationship, because he takes great pains to discuss how his father was abusive. Jack Torrance's father was very abusive, and especially to his mother, and how he reviled his father. And then as he changes from Jack Torrance, father and husband, into the monster that he becomes, you can track it by how he begins to say, well, that his mother deserved the abuse that had come to her from the hands of the father. So I think, yeah, all of these talk about that father-son relationship. And
and and and frailty, where you have two brothers, right? And one is, I guess, one believes his father, the other doesn't. And what his father does, there's no mother in this. I don't, there's no mother in the story, but it's a a struggling father. It's a workaday dad,
mhm.
and he also does this other thing.
Yeah, and he gets a visitation by an angel that tells him that he has to rid the world of these certain demons. And it is a very hard film. I mean, it's good horror, but it's a hard film, to watch. But I think, yeah, that's an interesting father son relationship. And also because even in the face of, the angel of the Lord telling him do X, Y, and Z, that love for his son, put him in a position where he could not take the lesson, because he loved his son. And so I thought it was really good. That also is very good
Yeah, it's like
father.
Abraham,
And
doing what
yeah,
he thought he needed to do to Jacob.
right, right. So the next one was Mrs. Doubtfire, which is number 11. I do not think that should be on the list,
No.
because I don't think he's not their father. Is he? Is he their father?
Yes, he is. It's a divorced. They went through a divorce, and he's so desperate to see his kids, he takes on the Mrs. Doubtfire personality or
So
persona
they.
to be with his
Oh, you
kids
know what I
every
was
day.
thinking about? I was thinking about Tootsie. Okay, okay, I'm with you now.
Yeah.
Mrs.
No,
Doubtfire.
yeah, that's a different
Okay,
bad.
that's
That's
a
a
different
different
bad
bad
movie.
woman dressed. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think Miss Doubtfire, wouldn't you? You can't recognize your ex or recognize your dad with his kids.
Oh, the kids actually recognize him
But how
after a
come?
while
But how come the wife did recognize me
because
immediately?
she wasn't home. That she became the breadwinner and all of that because he was always chronically out of work because he was always fanciful. So he used his fanciful abilities and cooking and all of that to be the nanny.
So why did he just be a stay-at-home dad?
She wanted him to get out and work, and he wouldn't.
Wow. Well, that's. I mean, he wouldn't. I mean, he wouldn't or couldn't or. I mean, just.
I don't remember if she couldn't, but I remember she was upset because he was always uh, daydreaming, so to speak.
Well, obviously he could do some stuff because he eventually did some stuff in taking
Yeah,
care of the kids. Why
I
wasn't he
think
doing that
that
for the
I think
nanny?
I think he was trying to, but she wanted him to be a man and go out and work type thing.
Well, he probably should have
He was
tried that.
meeting her up. He wasn't meeting her opinion of being a man and then showed,
Or
I'm
yeah,
taking care of my family. Isn't that count?
well, or maybe it's just that that wasn't the deal they made.
Yeah, I can't remember the circumstances, but yeah,
I,
it is the father trying to get
I
back into
just did.
his children's lives
It,
because she got complete custody and was talking about even moving away.
right. Well, I don't remember that much of it because I think I was thinking Tootsie. So, yeah, those things
See,
I'm mixing together.
it doesn't
Yeah,
belong on the. It
I
doesn't
had to
belong on the
do
list.
yeah, I had to do research on Mrs.
Yeah.
Doubtfire for a play I wrote.
Oh, and now we have the next. I mean, anybody else say anything else to say about Miss Doubtfire? No. Well,
Well,
no,
you
this.
said at some point, shouldn't they have had family counseling or therapy or something?
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
think so.
You
it
didn't
don't
do
belong on the
therapy
list.
back then. When was
Oh,
this film? In 93. Nobody wanted to admit to doing therapy in 93.
I don't
Wasn't until
know.
the
Are you
wasn't
kidding?
until the
Every Woody Allen film is about
okay,
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
but that's Woody Allen as opposed to Wasp America.
Well, also, this was California, though, so everybody was in therapy. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So
Everybody
yeah,
was
yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
Everybody
No, it
was in
was yeah.
therapy.
Yeah,
But
Everybody
yeah.
so
was in
but
therapy.
Now the next thing I want to keep moving on, if you have anything else to say about Miss Doubtfire, to one of my favorites, said sarcastically, Kramer versus Kramer. Um, showing this fatherhood situation where he ignores the child's existence for 4 or 5 years, and then now he's all of a sudden super dad. So
Well,
yeah, I
that's one of those films. That's one of those films where you, as a husband or father, you pick up a sponge. You need to be celebrated.
yeah, 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 exactly. I just I could not get on board with Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah, but look, it was 1979, right?
hmm
Yeah, it
yeah.
was 1979.
Okay, still can get on
So
board. I was in what,
no, I
94?
no, I agree with you. I agree
Mm-hmm.
with you, but I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
that the
The
movie
time.
was made in 1979, and this just was not done. And the fact that he picked up a sponge, if you will, was absolutely going against quote type.
hmm
So, yeah,
I mean, I guess it's because you have a system whereby, uh, Hollywood creates the concept of what a father is or does, and then they say, okay, now this guy is going to take on these other responsibilities, the ones that generally we would place on a mother.
right.
And so he's Superman, but why wasn't she Superman for having done them in the first place? You know?
Because
Exactly.
the way that she left the family, it's like I can't do this anymore. I want to leave.
The
And
thing that they tell you when you get what do you call it? You get baby blues. What do you do? What do they tell you to do? They tell you to leave. I said before you do something that is destructive to your child. They say you leave.
But they
but
didn't
that's a
tell them that in the 79
yeah.
or
That's
Yeah.
a different
whenever.
movie.
Right.
That's a
And
different movie,
also and
Penelope.
also remember too, this was on the tail end of I have to find myself,
Yes. Yeah.
and so that became in the 70s,
Mhm.
that became an acceptable reason for leaving your family, whether you're the mother or the father. I have to
Mhm.
go find myself.
Yeah.
But the way the court scene and the way that they eviscerate Meryl Streep in that
Mhm.
courtroom. Her mother. Her definition of whether she's a good mother or not. Um, and they did some stuff to the Dustin Hoffman character too, but
Yeah.
the Meryl Streep, what they did to her is like, I, I mean,
Mhm.
as a man watching it, it was cringe worthy stuff. And you look back at that movie, if you haven't watched it in a while, watch it. It's pure garbage.
Yeah. But still getting nominated because it makes basically white males who put in very little effort believe that they somehow should be rewarded or called a hero
There's a lot of
for doing what they
cringeworthy
should
Dustin
do.
Hoffman.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cringeworthy Dustin Hoffman movies. Kramer versus Kramer, Tootsie,
hmm
Ishtar. He did a lot of garbage, man.
He snuck some good ones in there. We got Marathon Man in there, which I think was an excellent. So there we go. We'll Dustin Hoffman later. But
Yeah.
but the next film on the list they have is called The Father. I have not seen this. Has anyone seen this? It is a man refuses assistance from his daughter as he ages. As he tries to make sense of his changing circumstances, he begins to doubt his loved ones, his own mind, and the fabric of his reality. And it is directed by Florian Zeller, star Olivia Colman, Anthony Hopkins, Mark Gatiss. So it's very interesting. We're talking about Mark Gatiss related to something else earlier on Inside Number Nine. But has anyone seen this?
No.
No.
I have never seen it. Okay, never ever. So unfortunately, we cannot, give a opinion one way or the other because we haven't seen it. Now, the next one, number 14, though, an extremely goofy movie. I do not know why this is on the list because it should actually be the Goofy movie, which is on the list, which is phenomenal. I mean, that film is like legendary in this household, our household. I mean, I have probably seen it 100 times. I mean, really, 100 times. It is a magnificent film regarding Goofy and his son Max, and how it is that he changes from, if you watch, the Goof Troop or any of the other Goofy stuff on Disney with Goofy and his son Max, to Max's father's Hung the Moon. But in the Goofy movie, he's in high school now, and all those things that he, thought were wonderful about his dad now embarrass him. And as a parent, Goofy's trying to hold on to the relationship he has with his son, but the son, of course, is now interested in girls and his own music and doing things that he wants to do as a young man. So it's a really wonderful song, great music. This should actually be on this list. Number one of all these films should be the Goofy. That extremely Goofy movie. I don't know why that's that instead of the original Goofy movie, which is what I think they really need because it sounds like the Goofy movie description. But what a fantastic film! What great music! I mean, I just when uh, my son, one of my sons graduated from college, I remember, going to his room. Him and his roommate were there, and his roommate had never seen the Goofy movie. And we sat there that night and we watched the Goofy movie the night before his graduation from college. So that's how ingrained this film is. So yeah, I think this should be like at the top of the list of father films because it resonates with all parents. That moment when you have to realize that, yep, they're getting older and you want to hold on, but this relationship is destined to change. I really, really love it. Anybody else other than one of my family see the Goofy movie?
No, never
No?
saw it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
great
that's it.
film.
That
Mhm.
parents are to embarrass their children after a certain point. So yeah.
Right. Sonia, no, never seen that
I
one.
haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, great film, great
I
film.
know I got to get back on Disney Plus. I
Yeah,
know. I
But
know.
you
yeah,
but you
yeah.
saw you saw Finding Nemo and
That's
missed that
because
out.
I.
Ah,
But
you're
you ain't.
babysitting.
As I was also babysitting. I was making money while I was watching it.
Huh? How about this film here, The Pursuit of Happiness? I remember seeing it, um, and I thought it was interesting. But I also know that the actual, of course, in order to make it into a film, they modified a little bit to make it more happy, I guess. Um, Regarding the individual, Chris Gardner, who is trying to become, I guess, a broker, um, and I think it's how he has to basically take his child from pillar to post in order to maintain that relationship as he tries to make his move into the financial world where he sees his future. And I think seeing it from the father's perspective, the desire to do these things for the benefit of his child is one thing, but it'd be interesting to see these things from the point of view of the child, who thinks his father is fantastic, but after he gets older, what will they see? What will their point of view be? I think that would be an interesting thing to see. Looking back, how the child lived that life, as opposed like having to live again pillar to post, sometimes in places that were not safe, as he's trying to make these moves. And I don't know, did anybody else see it, like it, dislike it, have an opinion? No, not really.
No.
Yeah, I think I understand why it is on the list, but again, I would like if they had ever done a sequel to see how the child's life ended up as a result of having to live like this in order for his father to follow his dream. Because basically, they're saying this man is doing all this stuff, but there are other things he could have done, in order to take care of them. But he wanted a certain life for himself. And I just wonder now, does he think it was worth it? Does the child think it was worth it? It would be interesting. Number 16 is Interstellar, with Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, and Jessica Chastain. And I don't remember seeing Interstellar. I know I probably did, but I don't remember it. Does anyone remember this film?
I remember the name, but I
Yeah.
never saw it.
How about you, Cranston? You remember this film?
Well, the issue was, of course, that Earth is dying, and they have one chance. They've sent out these ships to find another planet for us to immigrate to. And so, at the time that he leaves, McConaughey's daughter is, who was later played by Jessica Chastain, is like 10 or 11 years old. And she doesn't want him to go, and she can't understand, well, I'm never going to see you again. He says, well, I'm going to be back and everything, and probably you'll be my age when I do come back. So he goes away anyway. And of course, learns to regret it later, and it's sort of like a father-daughter connection through time or whatever as it goes along and everything. The ending is a little bit, it's like, well, okay, did it really end this way it was supposed to or something? So, but that's the father and daughter relationship that she kind of, and then he regrets leaving her and all this kinds of stuff. So it has a relationship, but it's sort of like a B story to the main story going on.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody else? Sonia, did you ever see it or recall it?
I don't recall enough of it. I do remember that he uses some of his fatherhood and their connection to leave back clues in case he doesn't come back,
Mm-hmm.
so that he knows that he did it for her, and she doesn't forget the memory of her father while he's gone. That's about all I remember.
All right. Now, there's another film here called Definitely Maybe with Ryan Reynolds, Isla Fisher, and Abigail Breslin. And I do not know this film, guys. I feel like I should, but I don't.
What film is it?
Definitely Maybe.
Oh,
This
no.
Will Hayes, a 30-something Manhattanite, is in the middle of divorce proceedings when his young daughter asks him about his life before marriage, including how he met and fell in love with her mother. Flashes back to 1992 and recounts his romances with 3 women, changing their names. So that I don't recall this film. Although, like, this little girl, it's like I think I remember this, but I don't remember this film. Definitely Maybe.
Well, Abigail Breslin was all over the place around that time, so she was starring in almost everything. But this still, I think the reason we may not remember it is because it's so much like How I Met Your Mother, the TV show.
I didn't
So
watch
we're-
that either.
Yeah, so
I didn't watch that
things I watched like an episode and a half of
Yeah.
that, but so things are blurring together. Was it the movie
Yeah,
or
yeah,
was it the TV
yeah,
show?
Okay. How about, well, I'm going to skip because I don't think any of us really watched it, but I know many of us watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh yeah.
And this kind
Yeah.
of father-son adventure. And again, I guess it kind of touches on that concept of, after you admit that your child has grown up, and also that as a father in this, that you have grown older.
Well,
know?
yeah, because in the, when he meets up with his father, for the first time, I mean, his father still treats him like a child.
Yes.
He says, you brought the book with you, so I should have given it to the Marx Brothers.
Mhm.
Kind of, insulting.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it's also there's also a case where you realize you are your parent.
Right.
Even though, because you see things, well, that's
Mhm.
exactly what Indiana just did.
yeah.
Or Indiana, you do realize that your father has the same thing. So it's kind
Yeah.
of seeing yourself in your parent and your parent seeing themselves in you.
And I thought the other thing that was interesting about the father-son relationship here is that when they went on their adventure trying to
Mhm.
escape the Nazis, it was the father who had to be taken care of. Because he
Mhm.
never, I've never had
Yeah.
anybody try to kill me before.
Exactly.
And so it was the son who had to take care of the father and keep him alive.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
also,
there was it was overshadowed by
mhm,
the adventure, but
right,
there were some
the
father
moment.
son dynamics going on there.
That's
And
true.
especially
That's
the
true.
father consistently wanted to call him Junior,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
not
Because,
exactly.
wanting
Yeah.
to use
well,
his
that's
chosen.
because we chose a name for you and you're not even using it. Your name, you took the dog's name rather than the name we gave you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also,
but
but also too, and remember when the place was falling down and he was trying to get the cup, the chalice,
yes,
his father said Indiana,
yeah,
Indiana.
yes. That
So
I recall, it's like to finally say, look, I can acknowledge this person as the
right,
person he is.
right.
Yeah,
Do you think when they made the first Raiders of the Lost Ark, they thought it would be a series of sequels or not?
I would say no because the second one was so bad.
Yeah.
So I think that no, they did not, and so by the time they get to the third film, they got their act together because they just didn't know. Oh my gosh, we have to hear them put something out there while it's still in people's minds. I don't think they thought it was going to be the hit that it was.
Yeah, I don't, right, exactly. They didn't know it was going to be the blockbuster that it was.
Hmm.
Either the first
Even
one
even
or the
though it
third
was
one.
even though it was inspired by all those serials
Hmm.
Right.
that did. I was like, why didn't you think of that? And they definitely didn't think about it for any of the movies after number 3.
Wow.
Yeah, sadly. Okay, and now we move on to the Parent Trap. I cannot believe we have gotten to this. We're only on number 19. I knew it was going to take a long time to get to this list of 30. The Parent Trap, they showed the one with Lindsay Lohan. I remember the one with Haley Mills when I
Yeah,
was
Yes.
a
I was
kid.
gonna say neither of them are really father for they show movies.
Yeah, well, I guess because they
They're
end
more
up with the
children's
father.
day. Yeah, more
They are.
children's days movies.
I mean, my favorite line, of course, as well we know, is at the end, the Haley Mills version. I don't think they do it in this one. The Lindsay Lohan version. It's like, oh, this is your sister, right? You all share everything, yes. Well, you give your sister her half of this. She slapped her in the face.
Funny.
So wow, as a kid, I was like, whoa, she's hardcore. It was
That's funny.
mean, but whoa, I thought it was I thought it was kind of whoa, that's unexpected. Good writing.
That's
um,
funny.
the next film on here is Like Father, and it's Kristen Bell, Kelsey Grammer, and Seth Rogen, and it's supposed to be 2018. And maybe I wasn't on Earth that year, but I don't remember this at all. Does anyone remember this film?
No.
No.
Kristen Bell, Kelsey Grammer, Seth Rogen. No memory. Again, that may have been that year that I was not on Earth.
What is that? Like an algorithm that picked this film?
I must have been because I have no idea what it is. They just pick every word. Let's do the word father and whatever films came with that had father in it, they chose. I do not know. But yeah, I can't even begin to say what that is. I just cannot. Now, the next one they have is The Road with Viggo Mortensen, Cody Smith McPhee, and Charlie Theron. And I remember this film, but I do not remember. I remember the existence of this film, but that's about it. Does anyone remember this film, The Road? No?
Nope.
I remember the Rose.
Yes, but not The Road. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Let's go down to the next one. Ghost Dad. Are they serious?
You
You
have
gotta
to
be
Are
have
they?
some
joking.
predominantly black films in here.
I mean,
You gotta be
Ghost
joking, man.
Dad?
Oh my
Oh
god.
my gosh. They gotta be kidding.
There's
This
so
is
many reasons not to have this film on the list.
yeah. I'm just gonna do them a solid. I'm gonna keep going and move on
Okay.
to Bicycle Thieves, a 1948 film, Vittorio De Sica. And I don't know. I don't remember seeing this one.
I remember
I
seeing
was
that
seeing The
film.
Bicycle Thief. Huh?
I saw it.
And what do you think about it?
Wait a minute. Is Bicycle Thief or the Bicycle Thieves?
This says Bicycle Thieves. I don't remember the Bicycle Thieves. Maybe it's the
Yeah, I
same
remember
film and they
Bicycle Thief.
just
I correct
put the
myself then. No, I didn't see
yeah.
it.
Hold on.
It's the same thing. The Bicycle Thief. I remember seeing that, but I don't remember there being a
No,
child.
the Bicycle Thief was the Indian, right? Subcontinent, on the subcontinent.
No, it was in Italy.
Oh, I'm thinking of a
Yeah,
different movie.
the one I saw is the one is
Yeah, it's
based
in
in
Italy.
Italy. It was
Yeah,
based in Italy, and
yeah,
it's called a
Okay,
Bicycle Thief.
yeah.
this is from 1948.
Right.
They probably did call it because, as searching First World War Rome for his stolen bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
No, I remember the movie that was based in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in 1948. I don't think it may. You
Yeah,
know what?
And they've been.
different
It
movie.
was black and white.
It's a
Yeah,
different movie, right? It's a
yeah.
different
Yeah,
movie.
So I
It
don't know
was
what that.
originally a novel, so it's probably same premise, different movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, number 24, it's 3 Men and a Baby, and everybody knows about this one. Tom Selleck,
Yeah.
Steve Guttenberg, and Ted Danson. And I remember seeing this film, and I thought, okay, this is a movie. And
But
yeah, but it wasn't a bad movie. It was silly, but it was entertainment, right?
it was interesting because they never showed single men in that regard before, where one really, really wanted to be the dad, and you knew he
Mm-hmm.
probably wouldn't be
Yeah,
because he really, really wanted to be the dad. So they
yeah,
all decided, we don't know who's who, so we'll just do it together.
yeah. I think the concept of I like the fact we're living in a time where these guys realize, this baby still has to be taken care of. Somebody's got to do it, and they have to be responsible for this child. So I liked it. I thought it was funny.
I probably would have preferred 3 Men and a Little Lady instead, the sequel.
I thought that was okay too, but I like 3 Men and a Baby because taking care of a baby is hard, and it's work to have to realize there's a learning curve, and you got to be on it and do it. And it's not an issue. This is the mom's job. It's whoever's job it is, whoever is there to take care of this baby. You got to do it and you got to learn it. And that's why I liked it. That's
Well, in that same vein, and I
mm-hmm,
can't believe I'm saying this, but I like the John Wayne film, The Cowboys.
mm-hmm. Same
Yeah,
kind of film.
yeah,
Yeah, because taking care of babies is not easy.
right.
And you have to want to do it and you have to learn. And I think that it's I liked it. I think it was cute comedy. I liked it. And we move on to the Royal Tannenbaums, which I never saw. I know some of y'all must have seen this, right? Come on, Cranston. I know you saw this one.
in pieces, not all the way through.
And
But it's a
Peacock,
typical Wes Anderson film. It's a little bit kind of out there. These
mhm,
people that probably exist on Earth, but you will probably never meet them or particularly want to meet them. So
So how about you, Roxanne? Did you ever see
Never
it?
saw it.
Sonia?
Nope.
Wow. None of us saw this. None of us saw this film. I Do Not Know Why Sleeps in Seattle is really a Father's Day film. And I know that he is a father, Tom Hanks, in this film. But I don't understand why it's a Father's Day film.
Somebody had to fill a list.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't see it. And then next, I'm saying some films I've never heard of. Maybe I was working or something and I didn't know they came out. But RV with Robin Williams.
I
Oh,
thought I saw all
oh,
our Robin Williams films. I didn't see that one.
well, Gary Simmons in the comments was saying maybe Road to Perdition.
Yeah,
I remember seeing bits
that
and
would.
pieces of it. I know I saw the whole thing, but I can't remember. And I don't know. Anybody? I remember bits and pieces. Right? Oh, we have number 28 as we're trying to move on. Cowboys. Steve Zahn and Jillian Bell and Sasha Knight, separated from his wife, a well-intentioned father runs off with his transgender son into the Montana wilderness. I do not know
No.
that film. I've never heard of that film. I mean, not at all. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm missing big swaths of films. Minari, I've heard of. I didn't get to see with Stephen Yeun. I didn't get to see it. It was on my list to see films, and maybe I need to get back on it. This is the one that's a Korean American family moves to an Arkansas farm in search of his own American dream. With the challenges of this new life in the strange and rugged Ozarks, they discover the undeniable resilience of family and what really makes a home.
I
So-
heard it was really good, but I didn't get to see it either.
So did
'cause
I. Heard it was really good, but I don't know if it's a Father's Day good or just really just good. You know, like. But
I know he was Oscar nominated for it.
Yes. And the still 8th grade. It's a coming of age drama, centering on Kayla Day, a socially awkward 8th grader trying to navigate the last week of her disastrous middle school experience, dealing with themes like social media anxiety and teenage insecurity. So I guess she must have a dad involved somewhere in here. So far I did not see what they. So, has anybody seen 8th grade? I heard about this film, but I never saw it. No. Wow,
We've
The
got
next
some
thing-
big holes.
The next thing on the list is Vacation.
Yeah,
Beverly D'Angelo. Because
this one I did see.
I really like all of those vacation films, the National Lampoon vacation films, because he is always trying, to do the dad thing. But I really like the whole. I love the Christmas Vacation one's my favorite. But yeah, I do like the Vacation one. I like Christmas Vacation. So yeah, this concept that he has of fatherhood, what the dad does, and he really doubles down on it all the time, and then and the hilarity ensues. So yeah, I really do. It's silliness, craziness, really campy sometimes, almost vaudevillian comedy, but I do love it. I think it's the vacation films are fun. Anybody else like them, loathe them? Anything?
They're,
Well, I've
they're
only
funny and
Mhm.
Go ahead, Cranston.
I don't know. I was going to say the only problem I have with this one is I think this is the one where he's having I think that's Beverly D'Angelo. No, she may play his wife, but the woman in the convertible that he's
Christy Brinkley.
going along after. That's a little. I guess that's natural and problematic. But other than that, yeah.
Well, I like the fact that when he sees her, he's got this, concept of her when she's driving. Sometimes she's driving around, and she's got her car with her kids, in the car. So she's not some, fancy free young woman. No, she's a mom, just like his dad, And so it's not this, young hottie, out there. Nope, she's somebody's mom. We're twins in the back seat of her car, and they're carriers. So I thought that was, so yeah, not your actual dream girl that you had in mind. And I know they do also something like that, Christmas Vacation. So with the clerk at the store. So all those kind of.
Yeah, I'm looking for that executive position.
Yeah.
Guy lives in an RV and he's looking for that executive position.
I
Yeah.
loved his ridiculous. But I guess we thought that was an act, just Quaid. But I gather that may have been more real than we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. A Paper Moon with Ryan O'Neal and Tatum O'Neal, I thought was very good.
Yeah.
I really liked that film when I was a girl. They're con men, I really liked it. And then when he gets ready to, dump her and he can't You can't do it. This guy gets his girl. I thought that was very sweet. Anybody else?
No, I saw it. I also thought it was a great dynamic between, a con man father
Mm-hmm.
who takes on his responsibility for his daughter,
Yes.
and how is that
Mhm.
going to change his life? Well, they're both con
Yes.
men,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the thing is that they're going into a life of perdition, if you will, but at least they're together.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it. I thought it was,
Yeah,
this
I thought
moment
it
when
was good.
yeah,
Thought it
she's
was
there
very.
living with her that whoever that was, auntie or whatever,
Mhm.
and she so they look at her and she's gone. So he's come
Right.
back and grabbed her and left.
Right.
So I really like that. And the next thing on our list is Daddy's Home, which it's Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg, Linda Cardellini. Anybody remember this? Daddy's Home.
Nope.
Yeah, it's one of those things you said, yeah, I don't think I'm going to see that no matter what.
Yeah, I'm not going to see that. Okay. And then after that's Kevin Hart, Fatherhood. Kevin Hart, Alfred Woodard, and Melody Hurd, a widowed dad, copes with doubts, fears, heartaches, and dirty diapers, and sets out to raise his daughter on his own. I have not seen that. Have y'all? It almost seems like it would be a nice movie.
It was just advertised because it just got re-released on Netflix. It had been gone, and I didn't get to see it before I had to end my subscription, and I'm mad about it because it was supposedly. People said when they saw it, they never saw Kevin Hart in the same way again, and I wanted to see. It's kind of like when Michael Keaton did his, and all of those goofy actors, the comedians, made their dramatic turn.
I've never
I
seen
love
it. I'll put it on my list then. But I'm looking at it. Our time is like gone on. And as I looked at this, I thought it was like 30. And I'm
Oh, there's
scrolling.
67.
Yeah, 75 films.
76.
76.
Mine's okay. Yeah,
So
the judge.
So we part 2 for next year.
Yeah.
You know what though?
Yes.
They're not 76 good father films.
Right.
It's just not.
Yeah. They have one. Some I never
They did.
heard of.
And I think the original Parent Trap shows up on here too.
Oh, I love the Trap. The original.
Yeah, I don't remember any father-daughter relationship other than Brian. What's his name?
Brian Keith.
Keith raising the child. That's about all I.
And Family Affair or what? Which one?
And Parent Trap, the original Parent Trap.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, some of these things, like here, they have one here that's really good. That's on this list, way down. Number 45 is Train to Busan. Wow, that was great. If you like horror and it tries to save his daughter and the zombie apocalypse, trying to save his daughter, and it was so good. I mean, it was like weepy at the end.
What about Son of Khan or Dracula's Daughter Meets Jesse James?
Yeah, okay. Oh, we have A Wrinkle in Time. So
that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
They build it as a Mother's Day film, but I'm like, no, this is actually a Father's Day film.
Yeah. Well, Gary Simmons in the comments.
Yes, Gary. I saw it. Gary's a good friend of mine, and we should bring him on the show one day because he has a lot of really good insights. We saw it together, and it was right after my father's death, so it hit me really hard.
So, do you think it's a good Father's Day film?
It's a father-daughter film. She goes to, and the book even, but it didn't match my memory of the book at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I consider it a separate entity that has a similar plot. But to see a father inspire that much love in his daughter because he raised her to be a strong-minded, independent thinker, and she knew he would never leave her like that type of thing, because they were trying to say, oh, he just walked out on us. She knew there's no way he would do that. So it really, I think the timing of it makes me have more fond memories of the actual content of the film. But that's what I was going to mention, one that wasn't on the list, because of how it resonates with me, I would have it on that list.
Anybody else have a film that is not on the list that you think is your concept of a good Father's Day film?
Well, I still have Frailty and
Of course.
and The Shining. I mean, it may sound like, kind of off a little bit, but Frailty, I think the devotion of the father,
Yeah.
even when commanded by God to do a thing, a specific
Yeah.
thing, his
Yeah.
son took priority over that.
Yeah.
And I think as far as The Shining is concerned, not necessarily the original with Jack Nicholson, but the remake that they did,
Yes. Yeah.
I think it shows the struggles that a father with addiction is having, try to support his family, and it's a different look at it.
Yeah. Agreed. And even in the final analysis, when he is having to follow these dictates, I guess this ghostly hotel, that he takes his own life before he takes the life of his son. So that's also in the remake, which follows the book as opposed to the first film.
Well, the first film was Stanley Kubrick, so what did you expect?
Yeah.
He always
Stanley
kind of
Kubrick.
did his own thing.
Yeah, well, he's always like the first 15 minutes are good, and then he just kind of does whatever.
Right. Right. I understand Stephen King hated it.
I can imagine. It's like, what in the world are you doing?
But in the remake, the father is really struggling, to keep his family safe, and he's doing a lot. And in the Kubrick movie, the father just is easily bent.
Yes.
Toward the spirit of the hotel.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think the remake was much more faithful to the book. You saw him changing, and you could see it by the way, again, like the way he talked about how his abusive father treated his mother, and that you knew something's not right here, and he's being swayed, but he's fighting against it. But it's a lot, especially for someone with an addiction. So yeah, I really that is a good one too, for fatherhood. But again, Train to Busan, very good. That as well. So anybody else? Cranston, do you have any?
The only one I have is one that's an unusual one about a kind of two are kind of like found families. One was relationship between on the TV show The Flash, between the detective who sort of took Barry in as a sort of a surrogate son, that relationship, yes. And of course Alfred. Yeah,
that's a good one too. Agreed. Anybody else? Any Father's Day type films that you think are appropriate?
I was gonna say The Flash is also pretty good, the TV version, because the first TV version and the comic books don't really have time to get into it, because he had two father figures. He had his biological father who was like inspired him to study, to learn, to prove my dad didn't do this, but he was still encouraging him. And the two fathers I think they were close friends, so they worked together to make sure that he got the positive influences he needs. Oh, Gary had that one. I forgot about that. DS9. Ben Sisko.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Excellent. All right, y'all. Well, I mean, we're getting close then to 1:30-ish. 1 hour and 30 minutes into the show. Everybody who's that's Father's Day tomorrow. If you lost your father any time in the past, we certainly send our thoughts out for them, meditations. If you're going to be visiting your father tomorrow, wonderful. If you are estranged from your father for good reason, stand your ground. So
I lost my father to New York City the subway system. So,
and
Dad,
you-
if you're listening, take the
Yeah,
C
right.
train to the last stop and get off.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. But thank everybody for listening this week. We will be back again next week with discussions from the other hood. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful Juneteenth, which is on the 19th, in the middle of the week on the Wednesday. And if you are around, we are supposed to be doing an all-day thing on Sojourner Con regarding Juneteenth. Check with us on there, Sojourner Con on Facebook. So have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourselves. Wonderful Father's Day, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.